that should be good. Well, aloha there, and we are back for some more Okay Dick. So we're gonna go down, and let me actually just click here. Film stages, stage radios. Yeah, why not just stage and radio? Oh wait. Stage and radio. Four of Dick's works have been adapted for the stage. One was the opera Valis, composed and with libretto by Todd Matchover, which premiered at the Pompidou Center in Paris, on December 1st, 1987, with a French libretto. It was subsequently revised and readapted into English and was recorded and released on CD. Bridge Records BDCD 9007 in 1988. Another was Flow My Tears, the policeman said, adapted by Linda Harrington and produced by the New York based avant garde company Mambo Minds. It premiered in Boston at Boston Shakespeare Theater June 18th through 30th, 1985, and was subsequently staged in New York and Chicago. Productions of Flow My Tears, the policeman said, were also staged by the Evidence Room in Los Angeles in 1999 and by the Fifth Column Theatre Company at the Orville House Theatre in London in the same year. A play based on Radio Free Amuth also had a brief run in the 1980s. In November 2010, a production of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, adapted by Edward Inhorn, premiered at the 3LD Art and Technology Center in Manhattan. A radio drama adaptation of Dick's short story Mr. Spaceship was aired by the Finnish broadcasting company Leedish Radio in 1986 under the name Manalpi Parentisen. Radio dramatizations of Dick's short stories Colony and the Defenders were aired by NBC in 1956 as part of the series X-1. In January 2006, I was going to say 2026. That's not there yet, but we're getting close to that year. My God. And at least also the World Cup is around that time. A3 Stigmata Palmer Edrich, English by Taradas Stigmati Palmeri Edricha. Theater adaptation premiered in Starry Twitter in Krakow, with an extensive use of lights and laser choreography. My bad. In June 2014, the BBC broadcast a two-part adaptation of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep on BBC Radio 4, starring James Purefoy as Rick Deckard. So 2014. You know, I'm actually going to look. Yeah, I'm actually going to look at that privately because I don't know if I could stream it. Or maybe I'll just do it inside here. But anywho, now we're under comics. Comics. Marvel Comics adapted Dick's short story The Electric Ant as a limited series which was released in 2009. The comic was produced by writer David Mack Daredevil and artist Pascal Alexei Ultimate X-Men, which covers provided by artist Paul Pope. The Electric Ant had earlier been loosely adapted by Frank Miller and Geoff Dawder in their 3-issue mini-series Hard Boiled, published by Dark Horse Comics in 1990 through 1992. In 2009, Boom Studios started publishing a 24-issue miniseries comic book adaptation of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Blade Runner, the 1982 film adapted from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and had previously been adapted to comics as a Marvel Comics Super Special Blade Runner. So Marvel Comics Super Special Blade Runner or just Blade Runner? Yeah. It's a comic book adaptation of the film Blade Runner, okay. So the Marvel, I think they just used that name for a brief time. But simply just put, a Blade Runner comic made by Marvel Studios. Way back when. Alright. Alternative formats. In response to a 1975 request from the National Library for the Blind for permission to make use of The Man in the High Castle, Dick responded, I also granted you a general permission to describe any of in my former, present, or future work. So indeed you can add my name to your general permission list. End quote. Some of his books and stories are available in Braille, and other specialized formats through the NLS. As of December 2012, 13 of Philip K. Dick's earlier work in the public Dick's early works in the public domain in the United States are available in ebook form of Project Gutenberg. Okay. As of December 2019, Wikisource has 3 of Philip K. Dick's earlier works in the public domain in the United States available in ebook from which is not from Project Gutenberg, but it's still part of the public domain that people can access willy-nilly. So that's nice. Now we go to influences and legacy. Let's see. Lauritz's Sultan's 1989 biography of Dick's Divine Invasions, A Life of Philip K. Dick, is considered the standard biography treatment in Dick's life. Okay, 1985 biography, French writer. Alrighty. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a reminder about that, what is it, radio special of Dick's work and the biography about Dick himself, because last time I remember I was just talking about dramatization of people besides notorious serial killers and people who are just notorious, rather than deal with people's entire lives in a dramatized way. Because I do want to see, how do they talk about Philip K. Dick in 1989? How do they portray it? Would it be different compared to any other biographies recently about him? Not just by TV, but like videos anyhow, because I went to the whole spiel about how there's more informative videos about particular topics and people than just TV shows or from a broadcast network. So, yeah, this 1989 biography of Dick, I'm interested. In 1993, French writer Emile Cady published Jesus Vivant and Vos and Morts, which was first translated and published in English in 2004 as I Am Alive and You Are Dead, a journey into the mind of Philip K. Dick, with the author describes in his preface in this way. The book you hold in your hands is a very particular book. I have tried to depict the life of Philip K. Dick from the inside. In other words, with the same freedom, empathy, indeed with the same truth with which it depicted his own characters. Critics of the book have complained about the lack of fact-checking, sourcing, notes, and index, the usual evidence of deep research that gives biography the solid stamp of authority and can be considered a non-fiction novel about his life. Yeah, and that's the thing. That I think the best way to even look at people is just to read about them. This sort of goes to say that I'm reading more about interesting people in my own time than I would ever would with other people, especially when it comes to the Theranos CEO. That this was a video before they actually made the statement that she is the most documented person when it comes to media, literature, so books, TVs, documentaries, movies, than any other person in the world. More than, they say, like Lincoln, Winston Churchill, Mao Zedong. And I have to say, damn. Me not knowing much about her, even though there's much more media and have an interest with other particular people, does show that perhaps I prefer alternative media than just the mainstream. But who knows? Who knows what might become popular next time? Because yeah, I do want a dramatization of that, Jeffrey Dahmer this year, but yeah, Public Dick. Why not Netflix? Why not? Alrighty, so yeah, we already gone through this, non-fiction novel, all that stuff. Dick has influenced many writers, including Jonathan Letha and Yorasuke Lee. Go on, okay. Let's go through here. Proclaim Dick the Shakespeare of science fiction. Yes, and expenses of spectacular. Dick has also influenced filmmakers and is compared to films such as. Yeah, sorry, now I'm in my mind. Really? That's what you say? Shakespeare of science fiction? Well, what? I wonder what she calls H.G. Wells then. They. I could only say today is that hopefully they read a lot more science fiction Beatles because, other than Philip K. Dick, I know one person people keep on talking about a lot in high grades is William Gibson because of Neuromancer and particularly Cyberpunk and all that jazz. But anyhow, yeah, influencing filmmakers, yeah, to The Matrix, to Spider, along with all these properties, 12 Monkeys, Vanilla Coast, Vanilla Sky, Inception, and Owen's Death Infinity Train. Which, yeah. Memento, Inception, and what I do wonder is, what about Tenet? But then again, not many people talk about Tenet, which is a shame. But yeah, Infinity Train. Okay, it's an American animated television show created by Owen Dennis. Yeah. Yes, this is Infinity Train. It's a Cartoon Network show that had a pilot online that a lot of people just raved, and finally had a television show that was exclusive to HBO Max. So yeah, it is this one, but there's just not much info about it. Yeah, this goes with the whole controversy with HBO Max has got rid of a huge catalog of their old shows, particularly animated and cartoon likes. So for Infinity Train, other than it being canceled because they were supposed to have one last season, that it just got canceled abruptly and it got removed from the service. Yeah. But the fact that Phil K. Dick influenced some inspiration to Infinity Train, that's interesting. But I guess just because of the whole idea of being in the train setting, because you also have source code here, which, yeah, it's a movie I watched a long time ago, and I still remember it. It was interesting. But, without further ado, the Philip K. Dick Society was an organization dedicated to promoting literacy works of Dick, and was led by Dick's longtime friend and music journalist, Paul Williams. Williams also served as Dick's literary executor for several years after Dick's death and wrote one of the first biographies of Dick, entitled Only Apparently Real, The World of Philip K. Dick. Philip K. Dick Estate owns and operates the production company Electric Shepherd Productions, which has produced the film The Adjustment Bureau, the TV series A Man in the High Castle, and also the Marvel Comics 5-issue adaptation of Electric Ant. Dick was... Yeah, I wonder if there's more. Okay, yeah, let me finish this. Dick was recreated by his friends in the form of simulacrum or remote control android design in his likeness. Such simulacra have been themes of many of Dick's works. The Philip K. Dick simulacrum was included in the discussion panel on San Diego Comic-Con presentation about the film adaptation of the novel, A Scanner Darkly. In February 2006, an American West Airlines employee misplaced the android's head and has not yet been found. In January 2011, it was announced that Henderson Robotics had built a replacement. Wow. Well, it does goes to show that he is not even though people don't talk about him that much compared to other people, it sure does seem like when it comes to his everyday legacy, it has a huge presence when it came to family members, loved ones, people running to his estate, his creations, and all that stuff. And then when it comes to possible theft of their own property, when it comes to making something out of it, that does show there is importance in his mist, which I don't even think he thought about that, because this does show a contrast of that how his life work is being prosperous versus his lifehood. It reminded me of when it comes to Vincent Van Gogh, or was it Van Gogh, that his life while living versus his death, his legacy is so black and white that it turns to 180, that when he died he was not well known, and then after his death he is the most well known artist of all time. So yeah, that does show some interest in that. But most importantly, there is a presence that they're still making things about him. And I do wonder, why not having more documentaries about Philip K. Dick and a dramatization of his, especially if he's revered as the person who pioneered science fiction, the genre. But there could be also other things, because looking at those two documentaries that actually talk about Philip K. Dick around the late 80s and early 90s, I do wonder how truthful it is compared to what I am reading here, because his life has hardships. And that if they want to portray him in a particular light with what things he's gone through in his life, do people feel comfortable making a dramatization of his life? Now, know that it would have to be accurate in order for people to give credit, because something I actually do love doing is that people have to make works of nonfiction more authentic, even to point accurate. Now, not everything is singly accurate or everything happened, but rather it has to come across as them dealing with the actual history, with how people would have really acted, in order to have that ability of authenticity. Now, oh yeah, my camera's just pooping out right now. But let's see what else is also pooping out. There's also the monitor. The mouse so far is not glitching as usual. But besides that, yeah. It is a dramatized version of Philip K. Dick that is probably not made today, because they do not want his legacy to be shown in a particular way. Which is a shame, because I'm just thinking about how more people would have been interested in his faults and some things that are flattering. I mean, for Christ's sakes, we have a Jeffrey Dahmer series that everybody's just loving the character, even though he was a notorious serial killer in history. Same thing when it comes to, I'm thinking about like Vikings, the show, Wolf of Wall Street, the movie, and how people do like people who are flawed. And, you know, which can show how authentic a media source is to show that, oh, this person is not perfect. He has issues. But man, it's just me wanting to see a dramatized series of Philip K. Dick. Now on to film. BBC Two released. Oh yeah, well. Film. BBC Two released in 1994. A biography documentary is part of the Arena Artist series called Philip K. Dick: A Day in the Afterlife. The Gospel, according to Philip K. Dick, was a documentary film produced in 2001. The Pentatonic Truth about Philip K. Dick was another autobiography documentary film produced in 2007. And yeah, going through here, the Spanish feature film Proxima 2007 by Carlos Altes, where the character Felix Cadic is based on Dick. Alrighty. And Prophets of Science Fiction episode Philip K. Dick 2011 documentary. Oh, so yeah, you see, there is plenty of films based on just him throughout the years. But yeah, the 2010 science fiction film 15 Till Midnight cites Dick's influence with an acknowledgement to the works of credit. And I wanted to point that out because, yeah, it does seem that will be close to a dramatization, a modern dramatization to put. Which also brings the question, is 2010 really a modern? Because that was like 12 years ago. Yeah, I say it is because pretty much people are augmented with smartphones around 2010. So yeah, it's sort of the world we live in. Now, was 2000, the year 2001 or 2002? Now that's a different world than what we live in 2022. Most definitely. So in fiction, in fiction, Michael Bishop's The Secret Accession 1987, currently published by Philip K. Dick, is Dead Alice, which is set in an alternate universe where his non-genre work is published by is science fiction is banned by a totalitarian United States in thrall to a demonically possessed Richard Nixon. So 1987? Wow. Alrighty. Then looking more into the comics here. In Thomas M. Dittrich's The World God 2008. Alrighty. In the Batman Beyond episode Century of the Last Cosmos, the character Alden Michaels claims a typewriter on his desk to belong to Philip K. Dick. What the hell? Batman Beyond. So, yeah, that show? Wow. Also, to know, Batman Beyond is a cyberpunk version of Batman, a younger version. You know, in the show, I remember people keep on saying that, yeah, he's pretty much a teenage punk youth who is donned the helm of responsibility by being Batman in this futuristic world of Gotham. But yeah, it's just so interesting. So they have Philip K. Dick. Okay, so they really were inspired with Do Androids Dream of Electric Sleep and possibly Ubik. That's what I actually want to keep in mind. Alright. Also, that short film trilogy Code 7, written and directed by Nacho Vigalondo, starts with the line Philip K. Dick presents. The story also contains some other references to Philip K. Dick's body of work. And in 2022 web anime Cyberpunk Edge Runners, the character Rebecca has the words PK Dick tattooed on her right thigh. Whoa. Now that's something I did not know. I love that series on all my heart, and man, there's just a lot of things there. But yeah, anyway, music. Flow My Tears is the name of the instrumental by Bassett Star, inspired by Dick's novel on the same name. Yeah, the track is also found on the album Radio Free Alpmuth, also named after a Dick novel. So, Flow My Tears. I'm thinking of, yeah, Do Androids Drink Electric Sheep? Or particularly the line from Blade Runner, where you have, yeah, he's literally the last person to die. I can't remember his name. The actor's name. But yeah, he pretty much talks about how all those moments will be lost in time, just like tears in rain, and then, time to die. Yeah. I do wonder what what the actor did too in different roles. Hmm. Flow My Tears, the policeman said, and another seminal PHK Dick novels inspired the electric music concept album, The Dowland Shores of OK Dick's Universe by Levante. Alrighty. And then, yeah, you pretty much have more like, yeah, English singer Hugh Cornwell included an instrumental called Philip K. Ridiculous on his 2008 album Hoover Dam. Oh, man. German singer Paul Mann included a song called Roy Battle in tribute to Philip K. Dick on his 2013 album Nick's Own Ground. The first song on Japan Cake's debut album If I Could See Dallas is titled Now Wait for the Last Year. Alright, and American band Tribute 2020 album What the Dead Men Say and his title track are a direct reference to the short story of the same name. Then yeah, you have more like radio. In June 2014, BBC Radio 4 broadcast The Two Georges by Stephen Keyworth, inspired by the FBI's investigation of Phil and his wife Cleo in 1955, and the subsequent friendship that developed between Phil and FBI agent Shrugs. Along with theater, the short play Kindred Blood in Kingston Gore, 1992, by Brian W. Aldiss. The 2005 play 800 Words, The Transmigration of Philip K. Dick by Victoria Stewart, which reimagines Dick's final days. Alrighty. Well, I'm becoming more happy learning about all these popular media referencing Philip K. Dick, the author himself, and his life. Because going through his life is just phenomenal. And yeah, it seems like people are learning it. But the question now is, I say media, not popular media or pop media, because with the whole dramatization of serial killers and in true crime, because true crime is a popular niche that people are loving, and it's growing more and more. That, yeah. Also, I'm just shocked going his life and just reviewing, just to make certain. December 16, 1928. So just know that he was born a year before the stock market crash that led to the Great Depression around the world. And that, he lived around during the Second World War. He had family members he probably talked to who first served the Great War, the First World War, along with other stuff. So, to understand where he's coming from is something I am looking at when listening to to many of these radio podcasts about his life and the biographies, because I wonder how they're gonna portray all this and stuff, like the person, his works, and all that stuff. And that, in Yeah, I'll probably just finish my sentence later because of the time. But anyhow,